I used to say I was a film producer, but I'm probably more realistically a television producer. I started on the 7th of January 1974 as a reporter with the NZBC in Dunedin. In those days, television was new and fresh and exciting, and you'd go to a town and turn up to do a story and everybody would say, television has arrived. I moved into directing in the late 70s because up until then, there were no directing kind of thing. You were either a reporter or you were a producer. But in the late 70s, particularly in current affairs, the role of director started. So I started doing some of that. I think I like producing the most. I kind of made the transition from directing to producing in the late 70s. One of the memories that I have is being at the Cannes Film Festival some years ago with Grant LaHood, and he had just made his second short film called Lemonade. And Lemonade was awarded a special prize by Clint Eastwood, and Grant LaHood was up on the stage and he was presented with his prize, and afterwards he and I went out on the Croisette and we drank champagne and we said, this is as good as it gets. 2 years later we were back at the American film market with his first feature, which was called Chicken, and Lindsay Shelton from the New Zealand Film Commission took us along the road to a dirty little coffee shop and delivered a piece of news, which was basically that the distributor didn't like the film very much. And he left us after delivering that piece of news, and Grant and I looked at each other and said, and this is as bad as it gets. You know, a film is either a success or a failure, and the reality in the New Zealand film industry is that you know, people can be unforgiving. You know, if you've made something that hasn't worked, it can take a period of time to be kind of given a chance to have another go. And I think if we look around, there've been lots of directors who've been in that kind of position. Yeah. So does the media kind of give you a hard time? Well, yeah. Occasionally, you know, it hurts when you see that Chicken is voted number 3 of the worst films of all time from time to time. I think it's unfair and unjustified, but that's kind of what happens. But do we move on? Yes, we move on. You know, Grant went on and made other things. Grant and I are currently making a documentary together on people born intersex. Yeah, I think we learn from our mistakes. You know, we love our mistakes. We go back and joke about them. The things that were most painful in the past, the things that we cringe, the things that we lay awake at night thinking, I will never work in this town again, are often the things that we talk about the most. All of these things go on. Making a failure is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing. Yes, I will continue working for as long as I can. I want to keep doing television. I want to do documentaries. I enjoy doing documentaries. But I wouldn't want to think that I would die without ever making at least one more feature. And so I do want to go on and make more features. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. But you're not going to make me look fat, are you? You're not going to make me look fat.